everyone, it is me, Train, and today I am making the C.A.Ts of Amity AU. I'm sorry for being gone so long. I was in hospital. For this, I'm making Steve Rain, Rain Darius, and Darius Steve. So first off, we have Steve, who already has all the lines drawn because when I was drawing it and recording it, the footage wasn't actually recording and it just said like catastrophic error or something. So I'm just like redoing some of the lines instead, and then I'll get to the coloring and shading. So for the way I designed him, I pulled the scarf that you can see that he seems to have on in his normal design up to cover his nose and mouth, because if you're a high-ranking government official and you are rebelling against said government, you probably do not want your identity to be easily recognizable. I made his outfit kind of look like the silhouette of the clothes that he's wearing, but it still won't be the scout uniform because it'll be in different colors and stuff. And I kept his leather jacket because it kind of like fits like them being a rebel or something. I don't know. So for Steve's story, he's Lilith's ex-best friend who ends up being drawn in by the allure of the Emperor's Coven and how it's seen by society and stuff, and ends up choosing to join. And throughout this time, he ends up rising through the ranks to become either... He could be head of the Emperor's Coven, because for the person in this AU who is Willow, who will end up being in the role of Golden Guard. Being Golden Guard and Coven head doesn't change too much in the story, but if it's like, but he could also be like other high-ranking role, like some sort of captain or something, that could also fit. I chose to make him part of the Emperor's Coven instead of any other coven because we aren't shown what tracks he studied, and I decided to kind of make it so that it's his arc in Titan Where Art Thou, but it's before like we see them on screen in the show, and he ends up. So after that, and seeing the corruption of the Emperor's Coven and the Emperor system in general, creating the rebel group, and I was kind of thinking of how the way that the name of the rebel group should be when it's just the letters, and for a lot of the things, for just the tracks, sounds weird, but what if it, so I was thinking, what if it was witches against the throne? Wats. It's like how Tenellanosa would say rats, and Tenellanosa is a part of the Wats. In all of the future installments, it's going to be the Wats, and Tenellanosa is a part of the Wats. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He ends up re-meeting with Lilith, and they become friends again and try to do all the taking down the government stuff, and it goes about almost the same as it does in the show, but like if he's a scout captain, then he's probably not getting caught, because or else he'd probably just be fired, so that might change some things. But if he's the head of the Emperor's Coven, it's just that they need the Emperor's Coven as well to do the Day of Unity instead of just all the other ones, which also makes, the Hunter being the head of a coven kind of useless, since the head of the Emperor's Coven isn't even a part of the draining spell stuff. So yeah, Sorry, Willow, he's taking your job. So next off, we have Rain in the role of Darius, and oh my titan, I have once again made them Willow's mentory, parenty person. Again, on complete accident. Like, I wasn't planning this, I just kind of ended up coming up with this grid where I just plotted them on as convenient as possible so there wouldn't be any overlap in any of my AUs, and this ended up happening again. I wasn't thinking about it, it kind of just happened. So in this version of Rain, they're a bit like less nice. They didn't end up going in to try and fix things. They were just very skilled at bard magic. People see them as kind of scary because of how quiet they are, without knowing that they're actually just kind of, they become the head of the Bard Coven because of all their skills and talents, and over time, due to things that may or may not be related to the previous Golden Guard, if that does end up being their name, maybe I should change it, maybe I shouldn't. I probably should now that I think about it. Like, in these sorts of AUs that happens a lot. Anyways, they end up joining Steve's rebel group eventually and becoming like a sort of, you know, vaguely like a parentalish figure to Willow, but they'd probably be a bit less mean to Willow because I think they'd have a bit less of a superiority complex over people that they think have fallen for the things, for the ideology of the Emperor's Coven. They're cold to Willow and brush them off because they don't really want to speak to them and are like trying to avoid them, making Willow want their approval even more. And that's how any sport in a storm happens in this version of the AU, I guess. Now, onto their design. It's basically the same as their normal design, but like it's a darker color scheme, kind of like edgier, and also with more gold because I thought it looked cool. I put more emphasis on the sharpness of some of the edges because they do have a lot of sharp edges in their design already. But I made the sleeves sharper, I made the collar thing and the tunic, the bottom of the tunic-y thing, I don't know what it's called. I don't think it's a skirt, it's the end of it. I made it pointier and I made it bigger so it changes the silhouette more to make it look more pointy, and there's less of the roundness in the sleeves because I made the sleeves basically just like flat and you can see the pointiness when it's on the arm as a straight line. This is to fit how like they're supposed to take a bit more of an ominous role before they join the good side, and also, I made some things look a bit more like Darius, like how I gave them a sort of side capey thing and gloves and very tall shoes. Now that Rain's done, we can move on to Darius, who, like Steve, starts out as a scout. So I'm starting them out being a scout in a scout uniform, but like it's like kind of with the face reveal, and yeah, so their design, I'll be designing it, and I'll probably describe it after I've designed it a little bit more. So I'll probably talk about the story and stuff now. Darius, like Steve is but a humble scout, but probably less of a humble scout, but he's a scout joined because of the prestige of the Emperor's Coven, but ends up seeing how it's not quite as prestigious as he thought, which leads to him ending up evaluating his decisions in life, kind of like Steve did, but exactly like Steve did, because that's the entire point, and because I'm making him into Steve. You can tell that I probably have less to say about him, because like Steve just kind of does less in the show. No hate on Steve, but like there is just less to talk about Steve. I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry, fans of Steve. I like Steve as much as the next guy, but like he just has less screen time. That's a fact, that he has less time on screen. That is precisely why I made the time that I drew the speed paint. That's why I sped up the speed paint more. I put it on a higher, more speed. I don't think that's how sentence works, but okay. Now, me colouring in Darius's cloak gives me more of an opportunity to talk about his design. I made his cloak this pinkish colour because I'm pretty sure I saw some of the scouts have it in the Watching and Dreaming type episode, because like in near the end of the series, for some reason the scouts just started becoming more individually designed, because like they probably for a reason. But anyways, he has one of those cloaks for whatever reason they exist, and he's wearing he takes off his scout helmet. This is what this is showing. I tried to make his color scheme very Darius-y underneath, and I based his shirt off the shirt that he wears in the picture to wear underneath his normal scout clothes, and I gave him normal hair because he's probably not like Coven Head levels of powerful in abomination magic, because he is not a Coven Head, which makes sense. So there we have him. There we have Darius. And so here they are finished. If you like the video, the explanation, or these designs, please tell me you like them. Please tell someone else about my video, and please like and subscribe and stuff. Please, 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 please.